This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Sunday morning. I'm Tim Gordon.
And I'm Christelle Kumwe. This morning on Sunrise, Portland turns out to support Ukrainians as the Russian invasion continues. What's happened there overnight?
And a positive update, as stuff that was scammed away when people were moving finally gets returned. How it got tracked down. But before we get to all that, let's check in with Chris McGinnis for a quick look at the Sunday forecast. Chris?
And the rain is here, and it's going to be here for quite a big chunk of our forecast. This morning, a couple sprinkles here over downtown Portland. The rain a little more persistent across the North Oregon Coast Range right now. And as we go out wider, there is a big plume of moisture here offshore. Look at those clouds just kind of chugging towards the Pacific Northwest coast. So the plan for today is generally spotty showers this morning, but the showers will become more numerous and likely heavier as we head into this afternoon, especially later this afternoon. 42 last check at PDX. Beaverton checking in with 46. Icy, snowy conditions in the Columbia River Gorge beginning to retreat as temperatures are warming there now. Val's up above the freezing mark. Eastern Oregon significantly warmer this morning than they were yesterday. That trend will continue. Here's a look at the plan for today. Cloudy last check at PDX. Lots of showers in the forecast, especially this afternoon, with temperatures climbing into the mid-50s. Guys, we've got a lot of rain in the forecast this week. I'll walk you through that day by day coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, Chris, thanks a lot. We will see you soon. Okay, well, let's get caught up on the situation in Ukraine. In the last 5 minutes, Ukraine's president says he will send envoys to meet with Russian diplomats. This comes after another day of fighting there.
And for the first few days of the invasion, the focus has been on the capital of Kyiv. But this morning, Ukraine leaders say fighting has broken out in the country's second largest city of Kharkiv. Russia has also unleashed a new wave of attacks targeting airlifts and fuel facilities. This morning, the United Nations estimates more than 368,000 people have fled their homes in Ukraine. Meantime, Russia is facing more sanctions from the U.S. and our European allies. The new measures include blocking a number of Russian banks from SWIFT, an international payment and financial messaging system. Western officials predict the move will likely send Russia's ruble into a free fall. Back here in Portland, people are voicing support for the people of Ukraine and opposing Russian President Vladimir Putin. Dozens were downtown Saturday showing support for the people in Ukraine. They want U.S. leaders to help protect Ukraine from Russian bombers. Many want world leaders to feel public pressure to maintain support. Some Portlanders originally from that region say this rally was inspirational.
It means a lot because, well, I haven't really connected with the community in Portland, but I've connected online, so it really shows a lot that there's so much and so many people here.
Organizers want to see the U.S. provide troops, which President Biden has said he will not do for now.
And as the Russian invasion of Ukraine continues, Portland-based Mercy Corps is looking at whether it can help. The humanitarian aid organization is sending a small team to the region to assess the needs of people suffering because of the invasion.
My heart goes out to those people who are in those communities. I'll tell you, oftentimes the majority of the people who cannot go are the elderly or people who are disabled in one way or another. And that's the heartbreaking piece of it, right? They don't have jobs, they don't have resources, and they can't go.
Okay, right now, that small team from Mercy Corps is traveling to Poland. If they can, they'll cross into Ukraine and assess the needs of the people living there. So far, Mercy Corps is not sure if it will mount a humanitarian effort. Leaders say if they do, they plan to be ready.
If the military conflict were to spread dramatically, that would mean urban warfare, which is brutal. It would also mean the displacement probably of large numbers of people.
Mercy Corps says often those who suffer the most are the elderly and disabled who cannot escape the war zone. They will need help, including cash, food assistance, water, and shelter. Of course, we will continue to follow all the developments in Ukraine. You'll find updates on air and always online at kgw.com.
We know Portland's gun violence is a tough issue to hear about day in and day out, but it's important to share as we push for solutions. The latest deadly shooting came Saturday in the Lloyd district. Officers responded to a parking garage near Northeast 2nd and Holiday just after 7 o'clock last night. they found the victim dead. They have not released the suspect's information and haven't made any arrests. Homicide detectives are investigating, so anyone with information is encouraged to call the police. Portland police did make an arrest out of a robbery and attempted murder suspect from Vancouver. Vancouver police responded just before 5 o'clock last night near East 4th Plain Drive and Grand Boulevard. They say a suspect robbed a store with a gun before taking off. The person drove into Portland and was arrested near Northeast 33rd and Broadway. The suspect is being held in Multnomah County.
Well, things are looking up for the hundreds of victims of a moving scam. Authorities found their missing stuff inside a Salem warehouse. Investigators are now working to reunite people with their lost belongings. KGW's Mike Benner has an update to this story that we've followed since last summer.
What we have right now as we sit here is about between 200 and 250 pallets.
Kieran Ramsey of the FBI giving us a look inside a 30,000 square foot warehouse in Salem. As you can see, it is chock full of things belonging to people scammed by the moving company East Freight Logistics.
Moving scams aren't a new thing. They've been around since, moving companies have been in existence.
But chances are not all moving scams are as devastating as the one involving East Freight Logistics, a company KGW first reported on back in July of last year. We spoke to a bunch of people who had East Freight Logistics contracted out to them for interstate moves. Their things were picked up, but oftentimes never delivered.
We heard a lot of the COVID, like we don't have drivers, everybody's sick with COVID, there's transportation delays.
Those are the excuses Michelle Migliori and her husband heard after hiring East Freight Logistics in August for a move from Nevada to Arkansas. The company picked up the couple's things, but then weeks went by and no delivery.
Kind of ironic. We had actually just given up. We kind of just hit the 6-month mark, and it was like, we're never going to find it. It's not going to happen. It's just hard, I guess.
Chelsea Carnes tapped East Freight Logistics in July to move her and her son from Eugene to Texas. Same thing happened. The company picked up Chelsea's things, but did not deliver any of it to Texas.
Some point I did kind of grapple with I'd lost our things. I felt personally like I let me and my son down because I was supposed to keep track of these things.
Turns out a lot of people were having awful experiences with East Freight Logistics. Many of them contacted detectives who started contacting each other. Through good police work, authorities tracked a lot of the missing belongings to that Salem warehouse, where victims are now coming to retrieve their things.
Coming back here has opened up a lot of new emotions. I was nervous getting here. I didn't know why.
So we feel really blessed. I think we're one of the lucky people being able to find as much as we have. I haven't heard that same story with a lot of different families.
At this point, we're hoping that within 6 weeks, most victims can come and claim their stuff.
Ramsey says none of this would be possible without the hard work of detectives from the Portland Police Bureau, Salem PD, and the Marion County Sheriff's Office. Ramsey says the people who run East Freight Logistics could face charges down the road, but right now, the priority is reuniting upwards of 300 victims with their missing belongings.
There's a lot of emotion behind this. There's a lot of special things that are in these boxes and on these pallets. People just want their stuff.
All right, it is worth mentioning we did reach out to East Freight Logistics for a comment and have not yet heard back. In the meantime, for information on how to avoid moving scams like this one, you can head to our website, kgw.com. I'm Mike Benner. Now back to you.
Yeah, be careful with that stuff. That's just so tough. Glad those folks are getting their stuff back. All right, still to come, thousands of acres gone, but not forgotten.
The challenges residents are facing as they try to restore Santiam Canyon.